is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. You can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Give me just a second to reply to a gentleman real quick. 1 second. Okay. Ah. Oh, that didn't leak all over the place. I don't know. 1 second. Let me fill up my little pod here and get the plug in it so I don't leak it all over my desk. I don't know how it didn't leak all over my desk then, so thank you, Father. Actually, not just my desk, but once in a rarity, I do have a few small notes jotted down because I often have fleeting thoughts, and when I need to bring those thoughts out through my mouth, I draw blanks. So, I once, on my lap, had a, here. Uh-oh. I hope I didn't lose my pen and all that fooling around. Uh-oh. I may have. Nope, I see it down there. Just gotta smack it good. Maybe smack it a little harder. Sometimes you gotta do that with humans. Yeah, see, I just had to smack it harder. I'm one of those humans, by the way. Okay, now you have my mostly undivided attention. I did say mostly, right? Okay, so let's start out with getting the toilet paper off my desk. And so apparently I put out a video earlier that, I don't know, I guess it twisted some titties. And it is what it is. I am not somebody that easily falls for stuff. And for the last, I don't know, 2-3 days, I have been watching different individuals on YouTube coming out with comments about this imminent cyber attack and yada, yada, yada. Well, first of all, you got to understand, I'm not a drama queen, not even a little bit. And so I don't bite at that stuff. I just don't. And I also have enough common sense, Twist Harder Lael says. I also have enough common sense not to run and jump and believe everything I hear, especially if it's something intended to cause some type of an emotional effect. In fact, the more I see somebody attempting to emotionally manipulate me, the more I will sit back and just watch, just observe. And so while everybody was talking about this sheriff and his, discussion that he had to the reporters or whatnot, whoever the hell was in the room with him, I was like, when I see it, I see it. And by the way, I still haven't watched a second past what I had watched earlier when I made that video. I made it 6 minutes in. And I got one thing to show you involving that to prove my point, and then we're going to get to the meat of the discussion of what I'm going to talk about. So let me prove my point first. I had said in that video, and by the way, I did not look up the information beforehand. There's many times, in fact, tonight's one of those times that I was wrong. I assumed something, and I was completely wrong, and I'm like, I got a second. I'm going to go look into this. And I found out I was wrong. It's not a big deal to me to be wrong. I don't understand this whole everybody got to be right thing, because I'm a human being, and it happens. Earlier in discussion with Lael, actually, because we were kind of trading comments back and forth while we were both watching the Putin-Tucker interview, which was pretty tremendous, I have to say. And I noticed one of the comments I made to Lael is that, he Putin had his little translator ear thingy on, and I didn't know if Putin knew English, but I assumed he didn't. At least on a fluent level. I was wrong. Apparently, Putin is pretty fluent in the English language. It's just very rare, from my understanding of what I've read, very rare for him to speak, outside of Russian. And it was interesting because Putin had one and Tucker didn't. However, I did notice Tucker every once in a while look to the right of Putin a little bit, to the right and behind Putin a little bit, and then he'd catch himself and look back at Putin. You could tell that's what it was. He would catch himself and look back at Putin. Well, another assumption, I would assume that the translator that Tucker was listening to, because everything I've looked up, I haven't seen anywhere where Tucker knows fluent Russian. So I would assume that the translator that Tucker was hearing speak, he heard them both speak, but the translator that he was understanding speak was to Putin's rear and Putin's left. However, I was incorrect. Putin knows English pretty fluently, as a matter of fact. So then I was wrestling my mind, well, why didn't he speak in English? Why didn't he reply in English? And I think, honestly, after I thought about that a little bit more, considering that Putin is well known for knowing multiple languages but only speaking Russian for the most part, that would have probably put Americans on guard. And knowing that information now, that he can speak pretty fluent English, yeah, I would have been put on guard by that. But that's aside from the point. I made a comment in that video earlier in regards to Butler County Sheriff being full of crap. That the whole cyber thing that he was talking about, his county being involved in. Okay, you have to understand, like I said in that video, there's a difference between Russia hacking the United States and Russian citizens that belong to a hacker group hacking the United States. There is a difference. There is American hacker groups that hack different entities in other countries that are not in any way affiliated with the United States government. That's a well-known thing. It's true for just about every nation. They have hackers that are not government affiliated that attack different infrastructure in other nations, and in most cases, especially when it's involving the United States getting hacked, it's for ransom. They get a hold of systems, they get a hold of data, they lock the other people, the victim, if you will, away from that information and demand money. That has happened time and time again. Remember the pipeline thing? Where the pipeline was hacked? Yeah. And then even after that, the hacker groups, many of them, made an agreement that, hey, we're not going to do this because this could really cause problems that we're not intending. Even the hacker groups did this. See, I think a large problem with a lot of Americans is they have very short memory spans and very short attention spans. And so as a result of that, and I'm not trying to be offensive or insulting, it's a fact. I can show you right now that the average American has the attention span of a goldfish. That is a fact. Why is that? I don't know. Why are you allowing it to happen? That would be my question to Americans. Why are you allowing it to happen? I refuse to allow it to happen. How do I do that? I don't take part in things that require a very short format. Okay? I post news out on Twitter, but I really don't engage anyone on Twitter. I really don't converse on Twitter. Why? Because they want me to truncate my thoughts. I'm not going to do that. It's the same thing with these Facebook shorts, or well, YouTube shorts and reels and stuff. Once in a great while, I might throw a short out or just throw a couple out. But I can guarantee you I do not sit there and watch shorts. It's one thing if I see something that is of personal interest to me, then I will check it out. But unlike many people that will sit there and keep swiping or whatever the hell they do through the short, I don't do that. Why? Because I don't want a shortened attention span. Why do you think they're doing that? And people are allowing it to happen. You have to be smarter than them. You have to be smarter than them. And if you don't try to be smarter than them, well, then you're just screwed. I don't know what to tell you. You have to be smarter than the ones that are trying to take control of you. So you have to look around and you have to be able to identify what it is, what methods they are using to get that control. And social media is a large part of that. But in order for them to be able to slip so many things past the American people, they have to get to the American people to where, as a society, they no longer think, or at least they don't think deeply. I refuse to be that. It's called being set apart for a reason, and it spans a whole lot of stuff. It's not just set apart biblically. It's most certainly set apart socially as well. I can guarantee you of that. So let me show you, let me make my point about what I said earlier in that video, and then we'll get more to the meat of the topic. So I said that it was likely some type of a ransomware. I said ransomware, but I mean a ransom type of attack. That's what they're wanting. That's what they're wanting is money. And so this article here is dated May 20th, day after my birthday, 2021. And here, as you read through the article, pardon me, I had a little belch. Let me see the part where it actually says it. I don't want to read the entire boring thing. I did actually have it until I started scrolling around. Here we go, right here. We pretty much run that gamut, and I don't know if this is part, but I'm including it. And we're able to recover all of our data almost in the entirety. There's a small amount that was lost. We've been able to work through all the safeguards we put in place, Dwyer said, but by no means feel the threats aren't still out there. You've got people trying to hack government sites every day. Commissioner Don Dixon said Butler County's cost to rectify the malware attack is minuscule compared to the $5 million the Colonial Pipeline paid to hackers in order to reopen 5,500 miles of pipeline. It's a cost that goes on the bottom line, and we have to deal with it, Dixon said. But it's every day an occurring problem. People trying to hack into the systems and get the codes and then try to hold you hostage for that information. It's a sign of the times. What do you call it? Progress. I guess it is. So right there is proving what I said during that. And I didn't have to look it up because I've got this memory. And I pay attention. And I've seen this happen time and time and time again. It even happened to our own local hospital not that long ago. So it's not something that I am unaware of. It's not something that I don't know about. And I wasn't speaking out my ass in that video. That Butler County Sheriff is propagandizing people. Just like this whole, they're all, and I've said this before, and people don't like when I say this. All the people coming across the border, all military-age males, blah, blah, blah. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. Now, you can better believe that most of the time when people are taking pictures or video, they are looking to capture that. But you know, I can pull up a video right now, if anybody doesn't believe me, that was just put out not long ago, the Atlanta, Georgia airport, where a lot of these undocumented immigrants were flown in and put on in a third story, I believe it was, room in the airport, and there were some people that kind of snuck around with some cameras or phones, and they had the cameras on, what have you. And I can tell you that there were more women and children than there were military-aged men. So you can believe all that BS if you want. But I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. Because what these individuals are doing are controlling you through your emotion. And the truth of the matter is, most of them are working together. Watch the video that I posted in the description last night in yesterday's live stream. Can't remember his name now off the top of my head. Leo would have to remind me. Overlander or something. Watch that video. He's on point. He is accurate. They're using emotions all the time in order to guide people's votes and what have you, mindsets, fears, especially fears. You know, I wrote a couple examples that they love to use. Jailbreak Overlander. Thank you, Leo. Russia, or the liberals, right? They often use Russia to scare the hell out of the liberals, to get them to do, vote, and say what they want. The conservatives, they use the border to get them to say and do what they want. You have to learn to step outside of yourself. There's no other way to do it. You have to look at stepping away from yourself, and you have to understand that when somebody's trying to emotionally manipulate you, there is a reason. And you have to, at any cost that you can muster, fight that manipulation, because that's what it is. Plain and simple, it's manipulation. And again, I wrote down a few notes just so I wouldn't forget. So I had throughout my life, I've had many steps with my walk with the Father. Even before I realized I was walking with the Father, I had many steps to get to this point, to where I can absolutely step outside of myself and take an honest look at any situation. In my younger years, and I've shared this little bit of information before, and I don't mind sharing it again. In my younger years, boy, I really wore my heart on my sleeve. And I had been in some relationships that just absolutely devastated me. And I couldn't cope. I couldn't handle it. And there were instances to where I had to take a little vacation in a hospital because I couldn't cope, because I couldn't handle it. And I think that was some of the first steps in this ability to step outside of myself that I had to take. But then more to the SHTF topic. See, I realized about what was going on with pole shift actually before I ran across suspicious observers, Ben Davidson. And in fact, that is the reason I went looking and why I found Ben Davidson, or how I found him. I was looking at the whole, the 2012 thing, I think it was, right? The Mayan calendar and all of that. And I was looking at it because I knew that it wasn't the end. And the reason I say that is because we're missing a chunk of that data. the last chunk. So I knew that whatever it was that was going to happen at that point in time wasn't the end. And the more I dug and the more information I found, I realized that that was a marker for the beginning. So whatever it was that happened on that date wasn't the end, but it was the Mayans' beginning of the end. In other words, it was them, the marker to tell them that when a particular process started. So then it was my job to find that process. And what does the good book say? That the big difference is? Sun and the moon and the stars. So I wonder where I needed to look. And that journey led me to pole shift and what was going on. And then subsequently, I ran into Ben Davison with Suspicious Observers. Facebook used to have this notes feature, and they took it away, and I wish they wouldn't have taken it away, because I could show you that even before Ben Davison had a channel, I was already discussing pole shift. So he wasn't the first one I heard it from. Well, when I ran across that information, and when I had the true understanding of what it was that we were looking at, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because while I'm not a big fan of society, I've met a whole hell of a lot of really great people throughout my life, and I still communicate with many of them. And the last thing I want is to see so many people fall, so many people die. The last thing I want is to have to live some type of cracked out lifestyle, if you will, just to survive. I don't want that. Man, I like my technology. Can you tell? I don't want to have to give this stuff up. But it's not a choice. It's absolutely not a choice. And when I really nailed it down about pole shift, and I really started to nail down about what was going to happen on the earth during the pole shift, it really took some weight on me. And I've mentioned this before. I actually had a nervous breakdown. And I was losing my mind. We're talking, 2010-ish, I think. And I was absolutely losing my mind. And it got to the point to where I had to ask the Father for help. And He helped me. But I don't want to go through that again. The only thing I can say, the only way I can describe what happened was, it felt like an electrical shock went completely through my body. It felt like I was absolutely electrocuted. And I'm standing there in the kitchen. Not but 2 blocks or so, 3 blocks or so away from where I'm sitting right now. And I absolutely went down. And I can remember, I'm like, okay. Ever since then, I was different. There was something that flipped. And I was able to completely step out of myself and disassociate myself with that emotion. It's not something that just happened that one time. After that, I've had the capability of doing that. Like that. Even though I couldn't snap my fingers. I can. Believe me, I can. I don't know that it's a good thing to have. I really don't. I think that it's a good thing to have if you use it wisely. But it could absolutely be used very unwisely. And I did for a time. When I lived over there, a few blocks from here, I was married. I had a wife. But when I went to bed at night, I went to bed, well, in the early morning, because I was a night owl. I went to bed with my girlfriend. That's no joke. My family, my wife, my kids, at that point in time, was living with my girlfriend, and it was no secret. So when I say being able to step away from emotion, and that it needs to be handled with responsibility, it's because I'm speaking from experience. I was on a bad path. I was on a really bad path. The further, or the better I should say, that I've been able to step away, it's allowed me to gain more patience. And once you have that ability to step away, once you start gaining that patience, that's when you truly start gaining wisdom. And I guess there came a point in my life to where it was time for the next test. It was time for that next step. And what was that? Well, that was the loss of that family. That was the loss of those kids. I can't describe to you the horrible feeling that I had knowing I had sheriff standing right there. I had to go. My two boys are right there. We're down in Alabama, and I knew that that was going to be the last time, possibly for good, that I was ever going to see them boys. And I already knew this. You have no idea of how my ex-wife is. No idea. But that has been an ultimate test in everything that I have learned up to this point. It was actually one hell of a challenge. Let me tell you something. In order for God to be in your corner, to truly be in your corner, you got to have your shit straight. And I mean straight. And that's why I can push forward every single day with the understanding that He's got my back. But I have to keep myself straight 100%. And I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that ever since then, I have not been involved in any kind of that nonsense. I've never cheated on Jen. I don't work against her. I don't do any of that. I am absolutely straight, absolutely 100%. And the only reason, well, the biggest reason why, not the only reason, but the biggest reason why is because A, yeah, I would like to see my children again, and B, if I'm not allowed to, that she's going to have to pay. Not with me, with the Father. Because I'm in this game for eternity. Not for a spell while my soul is in this vessel on this earth. No, for eternity. That's the game I'm playing. I had learned a lot. A whole lot. I know I've got some other stuff here I don't wanna miss. You know, Okay. I want to make sure that I can work this stuff in. I don't already pass things up, but that is an important ability to have. To be able to have that ability to step outside of yourself and not make yourself the center of whatever it is. That's immensely important. And I think that that's one of the biggest problems that people in the preparedness community are going to run into, because, hey, we all have emotions. We all have wants. We all have desires. However, we need to do as best a job as possible at policing those desires. And when it comes to the prepping community, there's a lot of people with the desire for fear, for drama. It's rampant. And I will say this. If you're in that camp, you ain't got much of a chance. If you have to have that constant pinging of fear, drama, to make you feel whole, you better fix that now. Because what's going to happen is we're all going to be thrown in a situation, it ain't going to take very long at all, where the last damn thing you're going to want to deal with is that fear and that drama. You're going to do anything for any bit of normalcy that you can find. But if you don't prepare now to be able to step outside of your own desires, your own wants, your own emotions, not going to stand a chance. And that's a fact. I have that prepper priority list for a reason. And I'll say it again. Step number 1, you have to be spiritually prepared. Because no matter what, when everything else fails, you're going to need to rely on the Father. Even if it means getting 100 billion bolts feeling like they're running through your body. You're going to need them. Immediately after that, you're going to have to be mentally prepared. In other words, you're going to have to be able to deal with situations, extremely stressful situations, extremely scary situations, and be able to keep your head. And that's going to involve you stepping out of yourself. That's the part where you're going to need it. And then, of course, the others are intellectual preparedness, which you got to know what you're doing. Pardon me. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know how to do stuff. And then the last thing is physical preparedness, talking about all your gear, your gadgets and stuff. I'm telling you, that is a correct priority list when it comes to preparedness. That's something that has been really gone over for years. Literal years of me going through and going over that and trying to make sure that I'm checking the boxes. These last 10 years has been paramount for me checking those boxes. And I'm not going to question God's plan for me, because I've learned time and time and time again that He's a hell of a lot wiser than what I am. And I can oftentimes look back on my past and see things, see positions that He has put me, that has helped prepare me for what is coming. There's no two ways about it. I hope, I pray that I get to see my kids again. But it's been 10 years. And she's hell-bent at causing me as much problem as she possibly can. But But that's okay. You know why that's okay? Because I repented 10 years ago and have kept my own ass straight ever since. I know where that's going to lead me, and I know where that's going to lead her. It is what it is. It is what it is. I am not a good person to challenge. Because of that patience that I've learned, I'll wait until the right time. And I'll make it the worst damn time of your life. What do I mean? Well, once you are able to learn that patience, and once you are able to gain that wisdom, one other component to this, you have to be an asset. You have to make yourself an asset. And once you did all of those things and checked all of those boxes, all you have to do for revenge is walk away. That's it. Just walk away. Leave them at it. And that's where I'm at in life. And that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do in life. People want to screw with me, I'll walk away. Fuck them. Pardon the language, but fuck them. Let them figure it out on their own. Believe me, I've had a lot of people screw with me over the years. And that's how I'm answering every time. Walking away. And that's how I'm going to continue to answer. Walking away. And I've got a whole lot of patience. More than people can even fathom. But you better well believe it. There'll be a damn big smile on my face when I'm walking away. And I've been doing it. I have been doing it. And I am going to continue to do it. Just watch. I had some people here locally that I think felt a little confident. Much overconfident. And they found out just how damn quick I just walk away. I don't give two shits what happens to them. Not even the least little bit. And will I help them? The only damn way I'll ever help them is if God commands me to. Only way. Other than that, I don't give a damn. Oh yeah, that ability to step outside of myself? Comes in handy. And again, as long as I'm not violating the Father in any of that, hey, look, these people haven't repented. I wonder how much hell, and I say I wonder, and I really don't. It's just a figure of speech. I wonder how much hell my ex-wife has had ever since I've been gone. Because I'm the one that took care of things. I'm the one that fixed the cars. I'm the one that fixed anything that was broken. I was the one that would get the kids to mind. Because she would scream all damn day and cut everybody down. And the kids didn't respond positively to that. The kids didn't listen to her. I treated them with respect. I could approach my kids and I could say, hey, don't do this. Please don't do this. Don't make me have to get upset. Don't make me... And I never did. I yelled one time at my son, Brett. One time. You know that bitch did everything she could to try to use that against me? And I guess some people could say that that was successful because I haven't seen him. See, there's a day coming that she's going to have to go and talk to the Father about that. And she's going to have to deal for eternity with what he chooses to do about it. And all I had to do was walk away and keep myself straight. That's all I had to do. But I've got, like I said, other people here local that I had even been in contact with ever since all that, and ever since been back in Highland and all that. And they wanted to act stupid, and all I got to do is walk away. Some of them I were helping out with preparedness and stuff like that. Just walk away. Fuck them. I don't care. And I truly, when I say that, I truly don't care. I don't give a rat's ass about what my ex-wife has to go through. I obviously care about my kids. But I don't have control of that. That's where the whole serenity prayer thing comes in handy. I have no control over that. None. Because she is the type of person that if I do anything whatsoever, she's going to try and cause me as much problems as she possibly can. Because that's what she is. She's nothing but scheming, conniving, lying. And believe me, I put up with some of that today. Same answer. Same answer. But for those here in town that decided to play games with me, I'm just going to continue walking away. And like I said, unless the Father commands me specifically to help any one of them, see ya. All I got to do, walk away. There's a lot of value in having that ability, but at the same time, it takes responsibility, because I wasn't responsible with it at first. And it wound up getting me in a hell of a mess. Now, I can't say that if I'd have never gotten in that situation of having a wife and a girlfriend at the same time, I can't tell you that I still wouldn't be in the same shoes today, because I absolutely believe I would. Because that's just the nature of my ex-wife. She can't help herself. It is what it is. But I know one thing. People that can't get out of their own heads, people that can't have an understanding that goes beyond their own nose, aren't going to fare well in what's coming. And it's imperative that you know, if you got those kind of people in your life, that you learn to walk away. Because much like a person drowning, they'll drown you too if you don't deal with it properly. And in that instance, that sense, the only way you can deal with it, walk away. Walk away. I'm telling you, when I lead by example. I do what I say I do. I am who I say I am. I don't think a lot of people, when I say that, I don't think a lot of people take it for face value. And why would they? I mean, you're talking about a society that talk about how dumb they're with something and then continue to go on and on and on and on. Prepared Homestead. Travis, I got to call you on this. He had a video, I think it was earlier today, and he said something about, I know you guys are tired of hearing his fire station stuff. I'm not going to talk about it. And it continued for about 4 or 5 minutes. I shut the video off because I'm tired of hearing about it. Because all he's doing is pandering, panhandling for money for his fire department, for his project he's got going on. And I'm sorry, but that's not your responsibility. It's one thing to donate to people and stuff like that, but it's another thing to sit there and ask and expect people to pay for your endeavors. That's bullshit. And that's what he's doing. And to add the extra crap on top, he's got the whole good buddy old pal kind of approach at it. And anyway, I think I pretty much covered it. I got one other thing I have written down that I didn't happen to mention. This whole argument, and Tim Pool took this argument earlier this evening about the immigrants and the stealing the jobs and stuff like that. Well, I got something to say about that. Is he going to go and pick the strawberries? Is he going to go and do the jobs that the immigrants are doing? Is he going to get on the roofs and roof the houses? No? How many Americans do you think are out of work picking strawberries and roofing houses because a Mexican took their job? Or we'll say an illegal immigrant. How many people do you think? The truth of the matter is, those undocumented immigrants, and the documented ones, for that matter, would not be able to get those positions. Go talk to some of the people that own these businesses. They would damn well rather have an American who can speak English working for them. But they can't find them. Because most of the Americans don't want to do that work. When can we have that discussion? Enough with this emotional manipulation to get people to fear this and fear that and pander for this and pander for that. We can't get anywhere as a society until we get past that. Until we get past this game of emotional manipulation and lying and stretching the truths and doing anything we can to get others to go down the path that we want them. Control is what it comes down to. Control. Whether it's on the micro, whether it's on the macro. I have said time and time and time again that I want to see you folks empowered. I want to see you learning and being capable of doing. That's why I'm not here trying to sell you the brand new latest ShamWow. Because I can't sell you knowledge. I can't sell you capability. The only thing I can do is empower and encourage you to seek it. But that's not a popular thing these days. That's why you don't see tens of thousands of subscribers on my channel. That's why you don't see millions of video views. Because I'm not playing their game. But I don't have their same motivation. I don't have their same goals. I don't think a lot of people really take what I'm saying and what I'm trying to do for face value. I think they're still looking for the motive. I've been doing this since 2014. If you can find another motive, please let me know. Because again, all of this goes far beyond YouTube. It goes far beyond what I can get a person to do for me. This goes all the way back. If you want to know, I mean, I want to do the right thing too. Don't misunderstand that. But I keep myself on the straight and narrow for revenge to my ex-wife. For yanking my children away from me. I'm not going to do anything myself. I'm going to keep myself on the straight and narrow while I give her the middle finger while she goes and talks to God about it whenever that time comes. Being able to step out of myself, my own wants, my own desires. Being able to have the patience so that I can gain the wisdom, so I can make it to the next step with the Father, which is what my goal is. I want to serve Him. I don't want to serve man, and that's why I don't kiss people's asses. I'm not interested in serving man, not even a little bit. I want to help empower you, but I want you to be able to serve yourself and serve the Father. I ain't doing that if I'm trying to get you to buy the latest, neatest doodad. It's not what the Father sent me here to do. And again, I may be going about what the Father sent me to do totally wrong. But I'm trying. And it's the heart that the Father's interested in. That's what's going to screw a lot of people. Because they can make stuff look good in appearance. They can make stuff look good on paper. They can manipulate and control people's minds in order to make themselves look better. But the Father sees all through that and sees the heart. And even though, in one sense, this is me keeping myself straight for payback to her, I've always, my entire life, just wanted to help people. That's been my heart. That continues to be my heart, and that will be my heart. But that doesn't mean I have to take people's bullshit. And that doesn't mean that I can't walk away. Keep your eyes peeled. You're going to see more and more examples of it pop up soon enough. Because remember, all you have to do, walk away. But you have to be an asset first. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you walk away. So I've got some headlines, a few of them, articles. Probably it's already pretty much 9 o'clock, so I'm probably not going to really dive into any of these. Probably just going to tap on them. Just a little tap-a-roo. And read some headlines and get out of here. I got to have a sip of coffee. I got a full coffee set in here. I pour it because whenever I come to do the show, regardless I am on my coffee level, I will pour out whatever coffee I've got and fill the cup back up because it's time to do the show. And I had about 3/4 a cup of coffee that I poured out because, well, somebody was watching an interview and typing back and forth with somebody else and not paying much attention to their coffee. Yeah, I'm blaming you, Leo. No, I'm not. I didn't. I wasn't paying much attention to my coffee and wasn't drinking it. But and then once again, I've got more than 3/4 a cup of coffee sitting here going, dude, what's wrong with you? So, and yes, I'm still back on coffee because I need rest. And in order for me to get rest, I've got to stop the dreams, at least for a couple of nights. So, I wonder who that was. I don't know. That was a good interview, man. That was insane good. It really was. And there were a few times that my butt puckered up. Because of just the interaction that was going back and forth. And you could tell that there were a couple times Putin was mildly aggravated. And I'm like, waiting to see the guy walk in the room. And but, no, it was all good. It was copacetic. And I think that before the interview started, I think that Putin understood that, because it's Tucker, and it doesn't matter who it is. Tucker's going to ask the hard questions. And he absolutely did. Yeah, it was funny. That was funny. How about when he was asking Putin about him and Biden, as far as talking and trying to come to some sort of, why don't they do that? And he's just like, you got to ask Got to ask Biden. And it was kind of like he was making a point within that, because our politicians aren't available for the hard questions. They won't answer the hard questions. That's why they hide from the real journalists. That's why they surround themselves with the paid off, the sellout journalists that don't ask the hard questions. And so that way they don't get actually pressed on anything that they don't want to be pressed on. Yeah, he did. He spoke facts. It was an incredible interview. That was probably the best interview I think I've seen maybe ever. Maybe ever. That was good. That was truly good. And I think Tucker kind of got a little impatient at the history lesson in the beginning, and myself concluded. I did too. I'm like, damn, I don't want to hear all this stuff. Just answer Tucker's question. So, I mean, and he did answer the question, and I'm still kind of not certain why Putin had to go through all of that history lesson thing. That's really not the point. I don't know. Maybe in a sense it was. And then there again, I don't know the Russian society side of things or anything else. It may have been important. And maybe as an American, I don't understand why it would be so important. That's a possibility too. But it was a good interview. And for Putin to sit down with him for over 2 hours and have that discussion, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because Biden won't give Tucker 2 minutes. So, there is that. I just hope Tucker looks under his seat on his way home. Damn, I've almost got half of that coffee gone. Yeah, very patient man. They both are. Both of them are very patient people. That's kind of one of the things, and again, that's part of wisdom, man. You got to have that patience before you can get the wisdom. Because if you don't have the patience, you'll never get that far to gain the wisdom. It kind of all goes hand in hand. Alright, let me kick over to the browser here and we'll kind of try to run through this as best possible. Hey. I put medicine in her ear this evening, so it's getting her. Calm down. Alright. Marine Corps confirms the worst, all 5 troops killed in helicopter crash in California mountains. I kind of figured this when they started talking about how they had found it and they were doing what they could to try to get to the location. I figured chances were they were probably gone. And the reason why I say that is because they're Marines. They're not idiots. They may eat crayons, but they've got a brain. And they would have been letting individuals know somehow or another where they were, for one, and or if they were even remotely okay. And they would have had the proper items to do that, because I guarantee you somewhere in that chopper there's flares. So I figured that this was the unfortunate reality in that situation. It's a shame. It really is. EU rolls out Tucker Carlson sanctions, says TASS. Yeah, they were talking about maybe sanctioning them and all that stupid nonsense. Again, I'm not going to dig into this stuff because a lot of it's stupidity. Zelensky reveals new commander-in-chief of Ukrainian army. The only point that I really wanted to make with this was that I'm still going to stand behind the notion that there's a fair possibility there's going to be a coup. We'll see. There's a lot of people that's not happy about what he's doing. AI could be self-aware within a decade, says Russian expert. I'm going to go out further on a limb and say it'd be self-aware a lot sooner than that. I'm going to say a lot sooner than that. Because they're going to start unleashing this AI on itself. And in other words, I mean, it already does to some extent, but they're going to let it expand the horizons and let it do more and more as far as like programming itself and stuff like that. And when they do that, it's really gonna grow by leaps and bounds. And that's kind of my fear. I mean, man, I know it's a pretty far out thought to think about AI, all of a sudden taking over a factory, for instance, and building their own robots to come, but I can't rule it out. I can't say that it couldn't happen because it's AI, and that's kind of the whole point of it, is that it can do for itself and figure out how to do for itself and be able to push the boundaries further and further faster than humans could. It's kind of the point, is it not? That's a genie. I don't know if we should have ever let get out of the bottle, but here we are. Okay. Lastly here, I thought this was interesting. Only genetically compatible couples should marry, says Russian doctors. Now, I am going to read a couple paragraphs of this, and the reason why is because, well, we got to be very, very mindful of this type of stuff. Says here for a myriad of reasons. And, well, let me talk about it first. One thing that I'm very skeptical when it comes to this type of stuff is because it involves your DNA. And I really don't particularly care for the government having my DNA. There was a period in time that you would have to go get blood tests. I don't know if it was all of the U.S. or just certain states or what. But there was a point in time, I can recall that many people had to go get blood tests to be able to get married, and their reasoning was for, I believe it was AIDS, if I'm not mistaken, HIV, if I'm not mistaken. But in my opinion, that was just an excuse to get people's DNA. Now, I'm sure that if you go into the hospital or even when you go into a doctor's, I'm sure that the United States government is doing anything it can to get people's DNA. I honestly feel that way. I really do. Yeah, it sounds like the med chopper. I'm going to go with the med chopper. Caught the Doomsday plane leaving out of Scott Air Force Base, which is not that far from us. The E-6B. When was that? Yesterday? Or today? Yesterday. Yep. Abso-freaking-lutely. Oh, they're hiding on us. No, I don't know why, but he's not showing up. Sometimes he don't. But I think it was just the med chopper. Not some big conspiracy. And then there's the other one. And sometimes if I don't see him on one, I'll see him on the other one. Come on, load in. Well, I guess it is loaded in. What the heck is that? DAL? Ah, Delta. I don't know what the deal is with this one. There it is. Let me, that's overlays. I don't know what the deal is with this one. I'm not on FlightAware. I don't see a whole lot anymore. There's like a lot of stuff that I miss off of FlightAware. And I've looked and I don't see filters checked or anything else, so I don't know what the deal is with them. Anywho, back to this. A number of doctors in Russia, Republic of Bashkortostan, have proposed requiring couples to undergo genetic compatibility testing. A certificate would have to be provided to the registry office before the wedding ceremony. The chairman of the State Assembly Committee on Health, Social Policy, and Veteran Affairs, Salavat Karsab, said that some doctors and scientists have been pushing for genetic screening in which the DNA of parents aimed at uncovering whether or not they are at risk for conceiving a child with a disorder or a disability. We're seeking to increase the birth rate, but there is another side of it. When children are born sick, it is associated with genetics, Karsab stated, adding that he questions the ethics of forcing couples to take tests before receiving permission to marry. Yeah, I would say that goes, several steps too far. I mean, come on. You know, I know there was a call here in the U.S. at one time to possibly restrict certain individuals from having kids. Like, for instance, say two individuals with Down syndrome were together. I know that there had been discussions and calls to possibly make it to where they wouldn't be allowed to have children together. I have a hard time getting behind that. I mean, I understand both sides of the argument, but at the end of the day, I don't, it's kind of one of those things I have a hard time respecting two guys getting together. I do. Sorry, it just is what it is. I'm a man. I'm a male. I like women, But I don't think that I am in my right to stop two guys from being together if they want to be together. However, I damn well think that I'm within my rights not to have them show up at the school and tell my kids about it. Now, I mean, that's a big difference there. If you want to go poke each other or whatever, man, but keep it out of my face and the kid's face. Plain and simple. We don't need to know about it. Let's see. Joe should have pulled out. Yeah. But hey, I don't. Does Hunter have any kids? Well, Hunter don't have kids, I don't think. That we know of. That he claimed. I don't know. Anyway, let's do some headlines. IKEA extends trademark in Russia to 2033. Apple laptop sales surge in Russia, says Izvestia. Only genetically compatible... Oh, I covered that. EU unable to offset Russia's munitions advantage, says Kiev. Putin meets Russian Jewish leaders. Zelensky was warned of riots if he sacked the top general, says media. Too late. Kiev attracting Colombian veterans with big salaries, says AP. Ukraine facing weapons shortage, says Germany. You think? That was a good question, by the way, about Germany. When he asked Putin why Germany is supporting Ukraine so much. It was a good question, and I think that Putin was genuinely honest when he answered. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I mean, I think he knows in a sense, but at the same time, I said the word sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. All I can say is, man, I hope whatever kickbacks or benefits or whatever, that it's worth it for all them folks involved in that. Because there sure are a hell of a lot of people that are suffering as a result of what the games that the West is playing. Let's see. Iconic cell phone brand to disappear. Moscow banning sex parties, says event organizers. No more sex parties. EU rolls out Tucker Carlson... I covered that briefly. Berlin to nationalize local subsidiary of Russian energy giant. EU fears trade war if Trump re-elected, says Bloomberg. Damn well fear a trade war. That's a good thing for Americans. Right now, the Americans are getting stepped all over. You don't need help with drones, says EU's top diplomat to Kiev. Putin talks to China's Xi. Kremlin warns Germany over expropriation, I have a hell of a time saying that one, of Russian assets. Trump will keep the Ukraine promise, says Polish president. AI could be, I covered that kind of briefly, sort of. Liberal Russian presidential hopeful fails signature test. I guess he couldn't sign his name. No, a bunch of the signatures, I guess, to put him, I'm going to say put him on a ballot, and that could be a little incorrect, but they weren't valid signatures, so. Don't we normally call that a Joe Biden? I think we call that a Joe Biden. When somebody pulls stuff like that, that's a Joe Biden. Certainly. Russia exit costs EU beer giant $5.9 billion. Let's see. Tucker Carlson doesn't need Russian protection, says the Kremlin. Russia's sanctions aren't working, says EU State Foreign Minister. I'm an agent of peace, says MEP accused of spying. Local currencies dominate Russia-China trade, says Putin aide. Ukraine has frontline soldier shortage, says Washington Post. Zelensky fires top general. Russia and Ukraine conduct major prisoner exchange. Israel killing too many civilians, says the U.S. UK ideal. Now, this is just the opposite of most words. Not most words, but there's a whole lot of words that I can't say unless I'm seeing them, because I for some reason my brain will jumble them. But this one's the opposite. This one, if I don't see it, I can say it. Ideologues. I think I might have got it. Zelensky reveals new commander-in-chief of Ukrainian army. Supreme Court hears historic Trump case. Ideologies. Ideologies. There we go. Ideologies. That's what you said there. Ideologies. Supreme Court. Oh, I said that. Let's see. Tucker Carlson posts first photo with Putin. U.S. admits Patriot role in POW plane drowning, says New York Times. Biden broke law but won't be charged, says U.S. Special Counsel. Well, isn't that special? Unbelievable. U.S. behind Nord Stream sabotage, says Putin. Ukraine is an artificial state, says Putin. U.S. Senate advances aid for Ukraine and Israel. Russia has no intention of attacking NATO, says Putin. Meta blacklist Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei. And lastly, Ukraine's new top general has a brother in Russia. Well then. So are they going to call that a civil war now? Brother fighting brother. Who knows? Anyway, I am going to boogie on out of here. Because I am tired. Tired, yo. Hang on. Yeah, it is Thursday. I had to double check. Anyway, I reckon I won't be seeing you folks until Sunday, unless all hell breaks loose. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, I will be back on Sunday. I hope to see you all then. Let's see, Megadeth song, which one? There's stupid heart things in the way. Hang on. Oh, Holy Wars. Okay, yeah. I love Megadeth. So anyway, I am out of here. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.